everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Karen About Wrestling. I'm Karen the Intern, and you are watching the 365 Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. All right, so I want to get started before we introduce our guest for the evening. I want to get started letting you guys know about a few of our live shows coming up. So June 15th, we have got Souk. It's a grudge match, you guys. Josh Cadwell and Brett Matthews. So this is sure to be exciting. June 22nd, we have got a doubleheader going on in James Bay, Victoria. So afternoon show, evening show, come check out both. There's a bit of a deal on tickets if you buy both. June 29th, you want to check out a show in Guelph at the, I believe, Red Chevron. Coming up, and August 3rd and 4th, Grand Bend WrestleFest featuring 365. So that's going to be a good time too. So if you want tickets, you can go to 365prowrestling.com and check out everything that you need to know about 365 Pro Wrestling right there. Also, we of course have our sister shows here, Combat and IMET. So definitely check those out as well. And as always, like and subscribe. All right, so my guest this evening is somebody who I've actually had a couple chances to talk to so far, but this is going to be probably the longest conversation we'll have ever had. I'm very excited because he's kind of an elusive character, and he's been on the injury list for a while. So hopefully we'll see him back in the ring soon. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Nolan James. Hey Nolan, how's it going? Oh.
What's up? You're always catching me off guard. Can we just right away, I know you're the interviewer, but can we just talk about what happened the other night?
Yes, we absolutely can. What do you want to say?
I never thought in my life that I'd just be relaxing in the ring getting a haircut.
That was pretty weird. So maybe we should let everybody kind of know what happened. Why don't you tell the fans out there who weren't there what actually went down?
Well, that's more what I was thinking, was because I didn't even know what happened. I was walking across, heading to the bar, and I heard you talking about me, and I was still just whatever. And then you're like, here he is, here's Nolan. And people are like, yay, boo, it's Nolan. And I got in the ring. You wanted to interview me. I had things to do, which was I needed to get my hair cut before the show started because I had been away for a while and my hair it just looked like constant bedhead. So what did we do? I let you interview me while I got my hair cut in the ring.
Yeah, it is just like killing two birds with one stone, right?
Yeah.
Took care of two important events,
and I had my personal barber Mike. He's more my backup, my road barber, but I always call Josh when I'm in Victoria, and he was booked, and then he was all of a sudden there cutting my hair.
Yes, he was. And did he do a good job?
He did a great job. Let me say, Josh Cadwell is a tremendous barber. Ask Zach, ask Eddie Osborne.
Yeah, well, they always say that you should never go to a stylist who doesn't have good hair. And if nothing else, Josh Cadwell has a pretty glorious mane. I mean,
tremendous hair.
Yeah, it's magnificent, 100%. So, all right. So you got a haircut. We had a few questions. It was a live episode of Karen About Wrestling. So if you ever want to maybe be part of a studio audience, definitely get your tickets to the next live show, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about, so I interviewed Maxwell Benson a few weeks ago, and, he said a lot of really great things about you and kind of the influence you've had on him. So what would you say, how would you like define you guys' relationship? It seems like mentor-mentee kind of thing, or sensei and grasshopper? I don't know. What is it?
That's what it is. It was just everything kind of came together at the right time. I've known Max since he was maybe like 14. He used to come to the shows and he would help out and he wanted to train. He eventually started training. And just as he was starting to gain steam, I got hurt. So
right.
it was I can see that he was hungry like I was when I started out. And it just seemed like things were sad without me because I was gone for quite a while. I was just in the background helping out, doing what I can to make sure that the shows go smoothly. But like, there just wasn't enough chaos on these damn shows. And that's because I haven't been there. So that is what I'm training Max to do.
Yeah, to bring the chaos.
Yes.
Yes. Well, we do need a little bit of that at wrestling for sure. That's part of the whole thing, definitely. Do you give him a lot of like advice in terms of like how he deals with like certain wrestlers or who we should go after?
Yeah, that's pretty much, we're definitely a team in that department. I guide him and he gets the job done for me. That's pretty much where we're at right now.
That's awesome. So, but like, I think we talked about this before, maybe at the live show. You're not looking to get into a tag team with him though, right? Like that's not in the cards.
No, because that's not my thing. I'm a one-man gang. I like to do things on my own. I've proved for years that I can do it on my own. And I honestly think that Max, with the right guidance, has that potential.
Yeah, absolutely. And he seems to be winning some pretty important matches too. So, I guess whatever you're doing, it's working for Max.
Definitely working.
Maybe not for his opponents so much, but definitely for Max. So you said that you don't want to be in a tag team, but if you had to pick somebody to be in a tag team with, if there was like a gun to your head, anyone in 365, who would you pick besides Maxwell? Let's have Maxwell out of it.
Besides Maxwell, I would have to go with our regular roster, 365. I would go with Haviko because Haviko has been one of my greatest enemies in life and one of my greatest friends in life. I feel like me and him have wrestled each other so many times that we know what the other person is thinking. And we may be on different ends of the spectrum when it comes to what the fans think of us. But at the end of the day, I have all the respect in the world for Haviko. And if he gets in my way, I'm still going to take him out.
Have you actually wrestled him before?
Haviko, yes. I've feuded with Haviko. Me and Haviko had a 2-year feud at one point where we had an I Quit match where he would not quit because he's got all the fight in the world. So eventually I had to take his mask off, and that was the thing that made him quit. And
really,
he disappeared for months after that while I carried his mask around all torn up. And he came back after that, and we eventually had a last man standing match where, this is where I really say that I respect the hell out of Haviko, because I beat the crap out of him that night, and he managed to be the last one standing. If you count it as standing, I was laid out. He rolled out to the side of the ring, and his feet were touching the floor. So technically he was standing, but we gave it to each other that night, and yeah, all the respect in the world.
That's very cool. Was he with the Fallen Circus then?
No, this was long before that. Because remember, I've been out for 3 years. Almost 3 years I haven't wrestled.
I know, it's so crazy to me to think about how long it's been. I've just kind of joined the 365 team not that long ago. So there are definitely like holes in my history of like how long things have been. And I just keep forgetting that it's been that long. So tell us a bit about your injury and how you got it.
My injury, what happened was I almost completely tore my ACL and I tore my MCL and just damaged a lot of stuff in my knee. And I did it while wrestling, but it's a crazy thing in wrestling that when you can do insane things. You can land on your head. You can, you practically die every time you're in the ring, but it's the simplest things that are really going to take you out at the end of the day. And all that happened was I took a big step and my knee exploded. It was just the worst time.
Oh, that is just horrible. You know, it'd be different if you had a story like you were attacked by a bear
Yeah.
or you got it saving somebody in a bank robbery or something.
I was wrestling Crofton. He's kind of a bear.
Well, that is true. That is true. Now, speaking of Crofton, now I know you said you weren't into tag teams, but I heard a rumor that you were in a tag team for a minute with Crofton. Is that true?
That is very true.
Tell me about that.
That is another one. So when I first, one of my very first matches, I wrestled Crofton when I debuted for VIPW, actually. I wrestled Crofton. And so we kind of stuck together after that because I would ride with him to all the shows, stay at his place. Like, we were good friends. And it's just one of those things that really, like, kind of turned me into the person that I am today. As we were talking about my relationship with Max, was I was so close with Crofton that he was always getting all the opportunities. And when he became the champion, he was, being this one night stands out in my mind at all times. This one night, Crofton had a championship match against Scotty Mack, and I helped my friend Crofton out by Crofton's music hitting, me coming out the curtain in Crofton's gear backwards to distract Scotty Mack while Crofton attacked him from behind. Like, that was a good friend. That was a good friend. I helped out my friend. They had a good match. And then Scotty Mack's girlfriend got involved in the match and started beating on Crofton. So Nathan Legacy came out and saved the day. And at the end of that night, Crofton said, "Thanks for all your help, Nathan. I think you should get a title shot next month." And I didn't get anything, other than a ride home. But and it was things like that. So eventually I ended up turning on Crofton, and that's really where my whole career started to take off.
Well, and I get it now. Like, when people break your trust like that, you start to just not be able to trust anybody. So maybe that's even more of a reason to be kind of just out on your own, running your own race, right?
It's true.
Yeah. All right. So listen, we're going to take a quick little break. Hold that thought. Yeah. Sorry. We're going to take a quick little break. Don't go anywhere, you guys. We are going to be right back with way more of Nolan James.
Unlike Max Benson, I come prepared.
Nice. I like that.
Something I'm trying to teach him all saying cheers.
Cheers. What are you drinking? Tea or coffee?
Coffee. It's still early.
I got a little mocha action going on here. Coffee, chocolate. Glorious. And we're back with more Karen About Wrestling. I'm Karen the Intern, and my guest this evening is Nolan James. Oh, is that a little kitty cat? Oh, who's that?
This is Perseus. He is my familiar.
He's your familiar?
Yes.
That's awesome, Perseus. So how old is he?
5. He's actually... he actually belongs to my roommate as well. Originally, okay. I'd say originally because I moved in here and I'm like, yeah, I got cats now. So
that's awesome. So would you consider yourself more of a cat person or more of a dog person?
100% a cat person.
Nice.
Max had to wrestle Draco a few weeks ago, and Draco was barking in the ring, and I feel like he was taking a shot at me because he's like the big dog and he's barking, but I'm a cat person. Everyone else is barking along. It's terrible.
There's so many ways to have beef in the wrestling world, hey? Dogs,
Yes, and
cats.
as we learned the other night, when I said in our interview while I was getting my haircut that one of my friends claims that dinosaurs aren't real, I was shocked at the reaction from the crowd of how many boos there was.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mix. To be fair, I wasn't sure what kind of reaction we were going to get of that either. That was pretty funny. It's always interesting to get that kind of reaction. I don't get booed a lot. That's not really my jam. So it was like, whoa, what's going on? So let's go back to a few more wrestling questions. So what got you into wrestling?
Like as a fan?
Just like into wrestling, like as a wrestler.
As a wrestler, it was honestly like I always wanted to be a wrestler since I was a kid. It was something that I always thought I was going to do, what I wanted to do. And as I got older, there was just no opportunities around me. And I just, I just kind of tried to grow up for a minute, I guess. And this is kind of like where my familiar comes in and things like that. I manifested my destiny. I woke up one day, the day after my 28th birthday, and I just told myself, like, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. Like, this is going to happen. And I just kept telling myself that. And about 3 months later, 2 companies had started on the island, and I was helping out on their shows. And it all just kind of came together from there. I started training, and here we are.
That's so cool. Like I feel that for sure. Like, yeah, when you put it out there and you just start to kind of, put yourself in a position to make things happen, and you're open to it, it's like, it's super cool, all awesome things that can happen. So you mentioned training. So tell me a bit about training. What was the best part? What was the worst part?
I could probably, as I'm telling this, come up with the worst part, but there was never really anything bad about training other than injuries you'd get and little things like that. But training was just great because, like I said, I was following my dream. And it's another thing where, like I mentioned Haviko earlier, Haviko was there. I had already been wrestling, but was not training full time. So when Eddie Osborne started the school in Campbell River, and we got this flock of new students, Haviko was there the first day, and so was Judas Icarus. So it was it was great because there was like-minded people all of a sudden, like in my area. And then I also, because I was wrestling at that point, but there was no other trainees, I had no one to kind of compete against, to try and be better than, because everyone else was already better than me, right? Because I had just started. So I finally had some competition and really pushed myself.
That's so much a part of it though, right? I mean, yeah, it's great to be around people who are so much better than you, but it's also great to like cut your teeth with like other kind of people who are a bit newer to the craft as well. I have so much respect when I watch you guys do your thing. I hadn't gone to any wrestling or watched any wrestling in quite some time, but when I got to the island, my buddy Mike, who is your barber, we have that friend in common, Mike said, hey, you should come down to a wrestling show. And I was like, oh yeah, I used to love, some WWF back in the day, right? But so I was like, sure. And the very first time I showed up, I was sold. And, it's crazy how fast things can happen just in terms of the 365 world too, right? Because you said you just started showing up and then you were doing stuff and it was all happening. Same thing happened with me. It's pretty rad. So we're also looking for volunteers. If anybody's interested in volunteering with 365 Productions, you should definitely get in touch with one of us at a live show, or you can leave a comment below as well. And we'll definitely get in touch and get you all the information you need if you're interested. And so where did you train? Was it with...
I trained in Campbell River. That's when I started training full time. When I first started wrestling and helping out on shows and stuff, people like Tony Baroni and Rhea Von Slasher really spent time with me in the ring before shows. And I always had Eddie Osborne kind of watching and, giving me little tips. And Eddie Osborne even had me in his garage one time to train. Everyone knew that I wanted it, so they went out of their way to help me out, which was great.
That's awesome.
The school started in Campbell River about a year later, and then it was on. I was training 4 or 5 days a week and sleeping at the school because I lived in another town, so I'd hitchhike to the school and stay there for the week and train.
You could almost make like a movie out of that. Like, it just sounds so like hardcore. Like you're just like sacrificing everything to do what you love. Like, that's such a great story, right? And other than the fact that you had this injury, you were having lots of success, right? Like, up until that point. So how long
I was at the top. I was at the pinnacle, I believe, before everything went crashing down. I had really figured everything out. I was getting all the opportunities, and it all just ended, Well, COVID kind of helped with that too. That cut us off first, and then it was right when we came back that I got hurt.
Yeah, that's like super bad timing, all of that, right? And COVID definitely had a big impact on all live entertainment in that time period. So do you think that there's going to be a time you're actually going to be back? Like, is there any kind of a timeline? Are you getting did you have surgery? Are you getting surgery?
I had surgery last August, and I was told it's about a year recovery for me to be wrestling, to be at that point where I can have unpredictable things happening. But that was also just kind of how it heals and how my strength builds and stuff like that. So it's kind of, I'd been telling people I'd be back this summer, and I'm still hoping to, but it might have to push a little bit further. I still haven't gotten word yet, but yeah. So I got an ACL. What do they call it? An ACL repair, but it's pretty much an ACL replacement. So what they ended up doing was, once again, I was kind of talking about this the other night. This is kind of graphic. And the doctor told me like what he was going to do, how this surgery is going to work a little bit. And like, cool, that's fine. I just took it as that, right? I'm so happy to get fixed finally. And it wasn't until after the surgery that I looked up how it was done. And it turns out that like my two bones that like are connecting my knee, they drilled holes in both bones. You put a little camera in there, and they cut like a piece of me out so they could like make a new ACL, and they put it in through the holes, and then they like screwed in. And like, it was so crazy that I was just so happy that I did not see this video beforehand.
I mean, it's the wonders of medical technology
in our day,
right? That's pretty crazy that they would even know how to do that or think of a way to do that. That's pretty crazy. But it's good that they did, though, because that means that you will come back to wrestle again. So when you do, who is the first person that you want to meet up with in the ring?
It's such a challenge because there's so many like it's been so long now that there's so many new people that I haven't wrestled yet. And like there's all these people who I assist in the training at the Pro Wrestling Academy. So there's all these students who I've seen from day one like show up to the building they want to be a pro wrestler, to now they're doing it. Now they're winning championships. They're all doing great. So I'm very excited to get in the ring with people like Sawyer Stein, Inferno, Rad Dad, Becky Beach. Did I say Damian Keynes? Damian Keynes,
I'm missing
the names, Rose. Like there's so many people who have come up since I've been gone that I can't wait to get in there with them. And then on the other hand, Devin Shooter also showed up, who I feel is just, he was the champion for over a year. I feel like he's just been holding my place this whole time while I've been gone. So
I
gotta mix it up.
Title shot then, what I hear you saying.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a title anymore. So.
Well, not anymore, but on the way to getting
But he was
one.
doing a good job keeping it warm for me.
Right on. All right, we are going to take another quick little commercial break here. Don't you guys go anywhere. We are going to be right back with more Caring About Wrestling and Nolan James.
How are we doing?
Good.
How's Nolan doing? Vaping off screen. 15. Like a ref count.
And we are back. I'm Karen the Intern. We've got Nolan James tonight. You're watching Caring About Wrestling. All right, so we've been talking a lot about wrestling. So folks out in YouTube land have some questions for you of a more personal nature. Nothing too personal, don't worry.
Getting excited.
So what do you do when you're not wrestling? What are you into?
Other than think about wrestling? No. The wrestling really is my life. When I'm not wrestling, I am, doing things like hanging out with Eddie Osborne and Haviko talking about wrestling, or Max Benson talking about wrestling. Other than that, I like to play video games, go for walks, listen to music, regular people things.
You don't say. That's awesome. So, okay, so you mentioned like going for walks and stuff. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you live here in Victoria, do you?
No, I live in Campbell River.
Oh, you do live in Campbell River. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize you actually lived out there. Okay. All
Yes.
right. So is that like your hometown? Have you always lived there?
No, I lived in Sayward, which is an hour north of Campbell River. It's a very small town, like pretty much like a forest mountain town. So I grew up there and really just moved down here 2 years ago. So yeah, but I'm always from the area. I was born in Campbell River because that's where the hospital was. But yeah, I've always been from the North Island.
That's so cool. I have never actually been up to Campbell River, but I have an epic list of things I want to get done this summer, and that is one of them. So maybe we can go for
Canada Day, July 1st at the Willow Point Hall in Campbell River. We've got 365 Pro Wrestling.
Well, that's the perfect excuse then.
Yeah.
That is the perfect excuse. Awesome.
And it is
all right.
So if you show up early, there's a pancake breakfast.
What?
It's wonderful.
Well,
Canada Day in Campbell River, they love wrestling.
And pancakes.
And pancakes, yes.
But who doesn't love pancakes or wrestling, really? I mean, come on. It's all good stuff. Okay, so you mentioned that you do a lot of, normal human being things. So I'm presuming you watch movies occasionally. Is there like a movie that you've watched recently that you're just like, I frigging love this movie?
Not that I really loved, but I ended up recently, I was watching all like the DC extended universe movies. Except for I didn't watch the first one. I didn't watch Superman because for some reason I just cannot get into Superman. He just does not do it for me. He's just too, if he wants to show up, like if like Batman and Wonder Woman can't get the job done, he's like, oh, here you guys, I'll do it with my laser eyes. Like he can show up and help out his friends. But other than that, I don't care about a movie just about him. But yeah, I watched a bunch of those movies and, I really enjoyed the Suicide Squad it had John Cena in it. That was pretty good. And I enjoyed Shazam as well because it was just such a cool story that like for when I was a kid, it'd be something I'd be dreaming about, like turning into a superhero at any moment,
If you could have any superpower, what would you want to have?
Teleportation.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because then I wouldn't be here. You could still be there, but I would just bloop and we could do this interview together.
We could. We could. It would save a lot on gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least
I
for
mean,
me. We still got to get the ring down there, though.
that's true. That's true. Well, maybe you could teleport not just yourself, but things with you,
Yes, yes.
like the ring.
Okay, I'll be right there. I'm bringing my coffee.
Are you giving me the signal that we got to wrap this up or something?
No, I was
or?
trying to teleport.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I was bringing my coffee. I saw you had coffee.
That would be that actually is I don't know that I've ever had anybody say teleportation. But you know what else I love, even though it's not really a superpower, is Star Trek, like the replicators. Like, would that not be like the best thing in the world that
Yes.
you could just tell this machine, just say, this is what I want, and it just
Yes.
makes it for you in like no time.
Yeah, I always talked about like they always like they had in like sci-fi movies and stuff like food in pill form. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I forget to eat or I just don't want to eat. And I would love to be able to get all my nutrients in a pill.
Yes, I 100% agree with you because, quite frankly, I find cooking a bit of a drag.
And
I don't
another
really enjoy
another thing
it.
about Star Trek that would be cool is the holodeck when they go into the room and it like turns into another world. Like I
Yes.
want that. That's what I really
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, because let's face it, like what we've got for VR right now isn't really like that level of VR. Like,
Yeah. I wanna smell things and taste things and maybe die. I don't know. But like I want that real risk.
yes, yes, yes. I like that actually. I've often thought about how cool having holodecks would be, but I think people might go in them and then they would never want to come back out again because it's just too cool.
Yeah, I could be a pro wrestler if I had a holodeck.
Right? You could wrestle anybody in the world. Okay, so let's take a little bit of a turn in the conversation. This is one of my favorite questions. Do you believe in ghosts or the paranormal?
100%, yes.
Yeah. So have you had like
Yes.
some paranormal experiences?
Yes. I tend to forget them sometimes, but there was one. The biggest one I think to me was I was at a friend's place a few years ago and we were jamming. I was playing guitar, he was playing the drums, we were making a bunch of noise, and I just happened to like see something out of the corner of my eye like fly across the room. And I looked and he just stopped drumming. And he was like, "Did you see that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And we get up, he's like, this stuff happens here all the time. And we're in his house. And we got up to check it out. There was a coffee can and it had hit the wall and it was on the ground. So I kind of like for myself had to look around at like I'm thinking logically like we are, we're making a lot of noise, causing vibration, things could fall. There was a storage room in the other room, but the shelves were inside the room. You walked in the door and then the shelves were quite a ways away. So there was no logical way for this coffee can to fly out the door across the room and hit the wall. It was, yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I would love to go on a paranormal investigation. Have you ever done anything like that before? Or would
No, but
you want
I've
to do that?
always been interested.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool. Probably be pretty scary too, because they do it at night and you know, in creepy places
Yeah.
and stuff. It's not exactly like comforting.
I think we should discuss this and like maybe you and maybe we can start like the 365 paranormal investigation team. We can go out there and start hunting ghosts.
Oh my god. I don't know. Production, are you getting this? This is a great idea. We definitely need to do a paranormal investigation with the wrestlers. I think that would be super fun. Oh my god, I would love that. Okay, so what's your favorite dinosaur and why? I think we might have covered this at the at the live show, but for the people in
We
YouTube land.
we did talk about this, but it's like it was so like on the spot and weird getting my hair cut in the ring that it was hard for me to answer these questions. My favorite dinosaur is a raptor because I like, Jurassic Park. The raptors were so cool in Jurassic Park, and I had kind of brought it up there, but one of my best friends is Rhea Von Slasher, so it was cool that she was there that night. And we both were obsessed with Jurassic Park, and it made me think of a story of the ridiculous human beings that we are. One night we were going out to a bar, which was a little bit of a walk away, and Eddie Osborne is always just beer strong and like ready to go. Let's go, guys. We're going now. So we go on this walk, but we had to cross an empty parking lot, a very large empty parking lot. So as Eddie's just like going to get that beer, me and Rhea are like running around pretending to be raptors, making noises, and like taking out, pretty much getting our cardio in, taking up the entire parking lot, taking our sweet time. And Eddie Osborne just like turns into a concerned mom, like he's gonna lose us. Like, come on, you guys, hurry up. We gotta go. It's time. Yeah. But
So raptors. So if I ever get a chance to interview Rhea Von Slasher, I'm definitely going to ask her about this story, the raptor story, with that
yes.
and you in the parking lot.
We have a lot of ridiculous stories.
Okay, so we are getting just right, almost to the end of our interview here. This half hour has gone super fast. You ready for a little lightning round? Some rapid fire questions? Excellent. Okay. Star Trek or Star Wars?
I thought this was supposed to be fast. I'm still going to go with Star Wars, though I've really liked Star Trek in the last few years.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a tough pick. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
I love pineapple, but I don't really care for it on pizza.
Fair enough. Frozen yogurt or ice cream?
Frozen yogurt.
Potato salad or coleslaw?
Potato salad.
What's your favorite candy?
Oh, I don't even know. These are hard questions. Licorice?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Like black licorice or like red licorice?
I like black licorice, but just like Twizzlers, like I don't know, they're delicious. I'm not really big on the sweet stuff.
That's
the reason why I don't like pineapple on pizza. Like I want my salty things, not. You
don't want the salty and the sweet things to mix.
Yeah.
Okay, I can respect that. Okay, one more question. Macho Man, Hulk, or Ultimate Warrior?
Macho Man.
Seems to be a fan favorite. All right, so are you on social media?
I am. I'm pretty much the only thing I really do these days at the moment is Instagram. Nolan James Wrestles on Instagram. Same on Facebook. I have a fan page, which once I really start wrestling again, I will be updating that. So you can go ahead and follow Nolan James Wrestles. That's where I am everywhere. If you can find that, look up the hashtag, you'll find me.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much. I hope you've had a great time tonight. I sure have.
Anytime.
Awesome. Excellent. All right. So thank you so much for joining us, Nolan James. Everybody, you have been watching Karen About Wrestling. So make sure you stay tuned next week for another great episode of Karen About Wrestling.